This is the G502 Proteus Core tunable gaming mouse, priced competitively at $79. The build quality feels solid with rubberized sides to help with a secure grip, and this interesting and angular form that really suits the gaming appeal. Logitech has gone ahead with a more narrow design with the G502. For larger hands, I'd say a claw type grip is more suiting, while a palm type for smaller hands would be appropriate due to the curvature of the top and a slight slant to the right. To be honest, I'm not a fan of this narrow style design, as there is no support for your ring and pinky fingers on the right. Lengthwise, the mouse feels great, but a slightly wider form would have been more appropriate for larger hands. I think the smaller form complements the weight perfectly at 120 grams that can be adjusted thanks to this customizable weight system. This can be done by removing the magnetic bottom plate that exposes the area where you can add or remove the weights at your preference around the sensor, allowing users to really fine-tune the weight balance and consequently how the mouse feels during tracking. Also, the individual weights are stored inside this very convenient little housing so you don't lose them. And one thing I'd like to mention, and I hope Logitech rolls out with a solution quickly, are the mouse feet. Many have expressed issues with peeling corners that really disturbs smooth tracking, and even on our sample the adhesive started to wear down, so an additional set of feet should definitely be included. The G502 has 11 programmable buttons that can be assigned through the software, 3 of which are easily accessible by your thumb, and I'm very impressed with the way these feel, with tactile feedback and consistent presses between all 3 buttons. The DPI shift button for your point finger also feels great, with the DPI indicator on the side with 5 steps. The primary left and right click aren't too heavy, and travel time before each registration is quite short, that is preferable for quick presses during gameplay. The metal scroll wheel can either be used as a click-to-click type or the hyper fast mode that is useful when scrolling through long documents and especially giant Excel sheets. This is enabled by the button sitting behind the scroll wheel. The scroll steps are really defined, which is good, and it also features the side-to-side clicks that do not activate any scroll steps, nor the actual middle press that does require quite a bit of pressure. So this implementation is pleasing. There's also the shift profile button located behind the scroll wheel with LED indicators for the 3 profiles, so that's always useful. The cable is braided with a proper name tag attached for simple differentiation between everything that is plugged in behind your computer, and I always appreciate that. The only lighting zone on this mouse is the blue logo sitting on the rear left side that is still visible when using the mouse, which is pretty cool. The logo is not multicolored, and at this price, especially within the gaming category, it would have been nice to color match to your other peripherals. The optical sensor on this mouse is tunable, which means it can adapt to different surfaces for optimal tracking and precision. And I haven't experienced any issues with tracking unless you applied the wrong preset in the software, nor did I notice any hardware acceleration with the G502. Since this is an optical sensor, it cannot track on white surfaces nor on glass, so that's something to keep in mind. Sensitivity can be cranked up all the way up to 12,000 dpi. That is totally overkill unless you're gaming on multiple 4K monitors. Now, the G502 driver software is simple and it's pretty clean too. The user is greeted with the option to store the settings either on the mouse itself or on the computer, with 3 different profiles and 5 stops for DPI adjustment. Now, the 3D interface of the mouse helps a bit when it comes to adjusting all of the 11 programmable buttons. The sensor tuning option can be applied accordingly depending on the type of surface you're using, as well as you can add surfaces to tune the sensor on the mouse manually. There's also a bunch of preloaded gaming profiles that can be applied to save yourself some time on button mapping. And throughout my gaming experience, the G502 served really well at my usual 800 dpi with precise tracking, and once you get used to the more narrow form, I was able to go on some pretty crazy kill streaks. And to conclude, the G502 Proteus has hit the market with a lot of advantages like excellent build quality and great tunable sensor that can adapt itself into different surface environments, as well as customizable weight system that can be adjusted accordingly to the user's preference. Overall button placement is right on, with tactile response and consistency throughout, plus intuitive driver software is always helpful. However, a few gripes exist, like its narrow form isn't as ergonomically pleasing for palm grip, and the lack of customizable LED option is a bit disappointing. Plus, the issues with the mouse feet are concerning, and we hope Logitech addresses them quickly. The G502 is still though a great choice for those wanting a well-balanced and an excellent optical performer. He's just so shy of a damn good award because of those peeling mouse feet. The issue is still apparent today. However, Logitech does send out replacement feet, but it's just a hassle for needing to go through the process. And so that concludes our review of the G502 Proteus Core tunable optical gaming mouse.